Hey, happy Thursday. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday afternoon for your lunchtime forecast. Today we're talking about thunderstorms across the country, so almost coast to coast here. The main threat here will be high wind, but we could see some large hail, and that's very, very isolated, or at least some small hail in there. Fire and flooding risk once again throughout a good portion of the country as well. And then as we head into August, it is dry and it's hot. So those temperatures are going to be well above average as we head into this next week or two. Taking a look at the storm reports over the last 24 hours, we did see some high wind farther off to the east and then on the west coast as well. And I see one of our comments in here right now. It says, Glendale says, hello. Well, hi, thank you for joining us today. As always, if you have any questions or comments, you can also put those in the comments section. So thanks for joining us today. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the storm reports that we've gotten over the last 24 hours. You can see high wind is really the main thing off to the west and even into places like Southern California, all the way up into Idaho. And then farther down to the south and east into Florida, we've also gotten some high wind from severe thunderstorms or non-severe thunderstorms here. Those thunderstorms, one of them we were actually tracking yesterday just out of New York, also had some high wind associated with it as well, and they may have even gotten a brief tornado in some of those areas. As far as hail goes, we did see one hail report in Iowa yesterday, several others farther down to the south and west along the Four Corners, and then we've also got those storms that were in Southern California producing hail as well. One of the questions that we're getting coming in from YouTube right now is, do we have any storms for Hamilton, Ohio today? So Ohio should stay mostly dry today. I'm not expecting any of those storms in your area. Maybe a shower or two. It looks like we have had just a few showers on the east side of Ohio over the last 24 hours, but really where we've seen the good amount of moisture and a lot of rain through here is down to the south and east, primarily in places like Texas and Louisiana, where we are expecting more rain today. So if you're on the southern edge of Texas and Louisiana, be prepared for that flood threat once again. You can see it's still raining in some of these areas, just over and over and over, different rounds of rain coming in that are producing that flooding risk. We have a line of showers and storms that go all the way out to the east into South and North Carolina and then up to Virginia as well. And that is one of our first chances for storms today. We're actually seeing, I think we saw a severe thunderstorm warning in this area as well. So taking you farther out to the west, we've got a few spotty showers and storms anywhere from Montana all the way down to Utah. We could also see some stronger severe storms later on today as well. One of the main risks there is going to be the high wind risk. But let's go ahead and take a look at your current temperatures. So currently we do have temperatures in the upper 80s here in Oklahoma City, just a little bit warmer than what we were this time yesterday. Temperatures are in the 90s out in Denver, 90 degrees out in Boise, 100 hitting the triple digits in Las Vegas, and then we've got the mix of the 70s and 80s farther out to the east. It does look like temperatures are going to warm up from what you see here for next week, so just go ahead and be prepared to run that AC this time next week. Here we go, zooming into Oklahoma City, 89 here in Oklahoma City. Of course, factor in the humidity, and it feels a little bit hotter than that. 87 in Fort Worth, 86 in Dallas, so really not too bad there, especially for what we could be seeing this time of the year. If you factor in the humidity, like I said, your actual temperature, plus the moisture in the air, that gets your feel-like temperature, also known as the heat index, and you get 91 for Oklahoma City, really not too bad. You jump about 10 degrees in Dallas, however, where it's feeling much hotter down there at 96. And the hottest yesterday was in Florida, 105. It looks like Florida wins once again for having the hottest heat index. Once again, I don't know if that's a win or if that's just something you've got to deal with. 105 for your feel-like temperature today. Whew, that is toasty. All right, let's take a look at the instability today. You need instability to make those storms go up and form into, the taller storms usually mean stronger storms as well. So what do we see? Higher instability down the northern plains and into the Mississippi Valley. However, will there be storms in this area? It's not looking terribly promising for this area. One place that I do want to mention is out in northern Montana, where I do think that we'll see some of the best chances for stronger showers and storms later on today. Your hail model is also kind of favoring these areas. If you could see a shower or storm pop up, you could see a brief, isolated, stronger or severe storm out of this. Yes, that could have some small hail with it. It could have some strong winds with it as well. However, it's a very low chance to see storms in this area at all for today. So what do I have for the hail forecast? I'm going farther out to the west for today. It does look like we're going to have some stronger storms out to the west. We could have some very, very isolated small hail in this area. I'm keeping your risk level low today, and I'm keeping your hail sizes small. So we've got Elko all the way off to Salt Lake City, and then down to the south. That is where I'm expecting any of that hail to fall today. Again, as I mentioned in the northern plains, it just looks like we are going to stay dry. If you could see a storm pop up, you could get some hail out of it. The likelihood for a storm to pop up, however, in that area is very low. Your max forecasted hail size today, we're talking about quarter-sized hail, so still on the smaller side, however, just enough for a severe thunderstorm warning. Quarter-sized hail is right at that severe threshold. And taking a look at the wind forecast today, which is a much wider concern across the country, we could see some strong wind just over that severe threshold out to the north into Virginia, into Maryland, and then farther down to the south into North Carolina there. So some of these stronger storms all the way from Wilmington to Baltimore. I still have it at a low risk today, but they could produce some stronger wind farther off to the west here. So we've got almost coast to coast here. We're talking about Malta, Montana. That will be the best chances for some stronger wind speeds. We'll see those storms later on this afternoon and into the evening hours. We've got a line of storms that goes all the way down to Winnemucca in Nevada, and it does look like we could have a very low chance for some wind blowing around there as well from those thunderstorms. Down near Tucson, Arizona, we could also see some stronger wind. Now with this, we're watching for blowing dust. So as a thunderstorm produces strong wind, blows the dust around, it could create low visibility. So if you're in these areas, I do want you to be watching for low visibility concerns for today. All right, taking a look at your future radar, we're talking about timing now. Timing for places like North Carolina and Virginia. We're talking this afternoon and into the early evening hours. We're seeing a line of showers and storms here that will most likely wrap up by the time the sun sets. Taking a look farther down to the south, this is where we're watching just rounds and rounds of rain anywhere from Houston just to the west of New Orleans. We are expecting flood concerns in this area. So once again, I mean, this is something that you've been dealing with day after day after day. You know that area that always tends to flood in your neighborhood. That is the area that you're going to be watching for flooding once again today. I'll show you in just a few minutes that flood risk, and we are seeing a moderate risk in this area, which is a level 3 risk for flooding. Okay, taking a look at the future radar for areas that are most likely to get that high wind today and maybe even some small hail out of this. You can see up in Montana, we have those showers and storms through the afternoon and late evening hours. By the time the sun sets, this will start to go down. The storm chance will start to go down. Heading farther to the south now near Salt Lake City, you can see some of those showers and storms anywhere from Salt Lake City all the way out to Nevada, all the way down to the south. And then of course, as I mentioned earlier, we are watching for blowing dust in places like Tucson, Arizona. But could we get a small hailstone out of some of these storms anywhere from Salt Lake City all the way back to Nevada? Yeah, it's possible, I think. However, I'm keeping that chance very, very low. I think it's pretty unlikely to get hail out of these storms. Let's go ahead and take a look at your biggest hazards that are not that hail or wind. We're also watching for excessive rainfall today. As I mentioned several days ago, it doesn't matter how much rain you get, it matters how fast you get that rain. So if you get a lot of rain too quickly, it doesn't have any place to go. The soil takes its sweet time to soak up all of that moisture, so you may see some runoff on the roadways. You may see ponding on the roadways as well. We're going to see damaging wind gusts possible out to the east coast. Of course, I mentioned that excessive rainfall that is possible for those flooding concerns down to the south here. You can't see it. We've got literally rain over this area right now, but there is a red panel area that is highlighted here that hugs the Louisiana Texas state line, that hugs the Gulf Coast here. That is it's red, it's highlighted for a moderate risk for excessive rainfall, for flooding risk in that area. Blowing dust, as I mentioned, down in Tucson, Arizona this afternoon and evening, and heading farther up to the south where you could see those high winds and flooding risk all the way through the Four Corners and just a little bit farther to the north. Some of these showers and storms that we're expecting to produce high winds out of Montana, I don't think they'll produce that flooding concern. However, the high wind is definitely not going to help that elevated fire risk, right? So we have a fire risk still anywhere from Idaho all the way up to Montana, all the way back to the west as well, where we have extremely dry conditions. We've seen fires ongoing the last few days, and that will of course add to the smoke problem as well that we've seen all across the west and into some of our northern plains. You can see that right here. So this is your surface smoke where we see some of these yellows and reds. That'll be the heavier smoke that goes all the way down from the northern plains, even into places like western Kansas, even into Denver, Colorado. So if you're in Denver, Colorado and the sky looks a little hazy today, that's probably because of the smoke that's coming off from the northwest. Also, at sunset tonight, go ahead, look off to the west, look at that sunset. Is it a little red, a little bit oranger than usual? That could also be caused by the smoke. Very interesting there. We get to see some of those, we like to call them Tatooine sunsets or sunrises this time of the year. I hope you're a Star Wars fan. You would have gotten that reference if you're a Star Wars fan, because of that smoke. We're also watching for high heat farther off into the west, into places like Montana and the northern plains here. We've got excessive heat watches and advisories in effect right now. Now, taking a look at your Friday, it does look like we could see some showers and storms once again coming out of Texas and Louisiana, going all the way up to Arkansas and Missouri here. It looks like showers and storms will be pretty sporadic, anywhere from Denver all the way down to New Mexico, and then we could see showers and storms off to the north end, or out to the east coast. It feels like North Carolina has just day after day after day seen that wet weather. Florida as well, you're going to see on and off showers and storms. All right, taking a look at your extended temperature outlook here. Let's see, did I skip anything here? Future temperatures. Oh yeah, look at this, 91 for your high here in Oklahoma City tomorrow. Let's see, do we get warmer for the weekend? Not too bad for the weekend here. However, I do think temperatures will probably be a little bit warmer than what they're showing here. This model seems to trend a little bit cooler than other models. Taking a look at the first week of August here, temperatures are most likely well above average. So if you see the areas in red, that is the likelihood that temperatures will be above average. So let me give you an example here. The average this time of the year for places like Chicago, Denver, and Oklahoma City is 84, 90, and 95 respectively. There you go. So the likelihood here that these temperatures are above what you see on the board is very, very high, especially through the northern plains. So we will most likely see temperatures above average for at least the first week of August, if not several weeks after that, well into the month of August. What about that rainfall? Well, it's very promising to see some pretty good rainfall over the next 5 days across places like southern Texas, all the way off to the Ohio River Valley and the Mississippi Valley there. That looks to be pretty above average as we head into the first week of August as well. However, staying very, very dry off to the west, which may inhibit our storm chances in this area as well. So you could see those chances for storms, for severe weather, including hazards like hail and wind, go down as we head into the first week of August. That is definitely possible there. All right, thanks for joining us on this Thursday afternoon for your lunchtime forecast. We appreciate you hopping in here. I'll take a look and see if we have any extra comments or questions that I may have missed during the forecast. But I do want you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We've been posting lots of fun things on there, including behind the scenes from the new filming of the Twisters movie, that new movie that came out last week. Derek, our CEO, he got to be on the set of that filming. He was actually in the background, in the extras, and he gave us a ton of behind the scenes details, and we love to hear stories. So we've been posting that all over our social medias. You can see that there. If you're interested in our hail, wind, or tornado maps, head over to hailtrace.com. You can see them there. You can email us for a plan at info@hailtrace.com or give us a call, 855-334 4245. Okay, have a fantastic Thursday. Thanks for joining in here. We'll see you same time, same place on your Friday.